A retreat marking the start of a high school year has turned tragic. Police and other officials are investigating the drowning of Enoch Mpianzi. The 13-year-old Parktown Boys High School pupil fell into a river when the makeshift raft he was in overturned during a school camp in Brits in the northwest. Lindo Kulu is following the story for us. He joins us now from the newsroom. So Lindo, you of course were on the scene earlier. Take us through what happened when you got there.
Well, Shahan, I believe we just arrived in the nick of time when we went to Brits there in the northwest. And what we basically witnessed was just before we got to the scene of the of the incident, there was a cordon off area, and where we were standing, we were told that we need to wait there until the family comes out. At the moment, they are trying to identify whether the body of the person found at the Crocodile River was indeed Enoch. But what we had heard after that was, of course, screams of people just weeping and sobbing, and at a later stage we saw them just walking towards us, being taken into a vehicle that was marked as a school bus. We understand that that was also a vehicle provided by the MEC of Gauteng Education, but we also saw the family members just walking, of course, towards towards us, trying to make their way into the bus that was provided by the MEC. But as far as we understand, the police services, particularly the water team, had spent hours just trying to figure out where exactly they can find or were searching for Enoch. But one of the things that we were told by the MEC, who was also part of the people coming out from the scene, was the fact that there were a lot of people, not just law enforcement authorities, but as well as communities and members around the area who had helped using drones, using helicopters and all of that. But one of the people we did manage to speak to just as they found the body and had declared that it is in fact Enoch was, of course, the uncle of the deceased. And we understand this is take a listen to what he said when we spoke to him earlier on.
He was saying that he would like to do law. Yeah, he would like to do law and respect the right of people, because every time when we saw event through the TV, as a Christian, we used to pray for different events which are happening in the world, especially in crime or what. So he was excited to perform through secondary school, then go in the tertiary for law. Yeah, that was his ambition. Unfortunately, he could not make it. To God all the glory.
So what are authorities saying about the lack of safety measures, which some are saying were not in place, about the situation?
Well, Panyaza Lesufi, the MEC of Gauteng Education, did mention it when we spoke to him after they had found the body of Enoch, and he basically said that the law enforcement authorities has taken over. And when we did speak to one of the investigating officers on the scene, they did say that one of the things they were focusing on was to ensure that they find Enoch. They said that it was a search and rescue mission, but unfortunately they found him dead. But what they are moving into now is a phase where they'll be investigating the circumstances that led to the drowning of Enoch, and they're saying now that since the first part of their investigation, which is actually the search and rescue part, they are saying that they are done with that, and now they're focusing in terms of finding out exactly what happened. But we understand that Enoch had been swept away by some of the tides at the Crocodile River when they were doing some of the activities orientation activities that were set to take place in that day. But also there are questions raised around the fact that the Gauteng Department of Education only found out about Enoch missing a day later after he was in fact missing. So those are some of the questions that we understand the South African Police Services, members of the South African Police Services, are set to uncover now that they found Enoch.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Our reporter Lindo Kulu. Let's get more information from the Gauteng Education MEC, Panyaza Lesufi. He says the family and school are devastated.
The day before the trip, when the mother went to wake him up, he said to the mother, "I'm not sleeping because I could not sleep. I'm looking forward to this trip." And he's a learner that had an ambition to be a lawyer, so he wanted to study law. The family is a praying family, highly Christian. So they say that the background of law, they felt that it comes from the desire to pray for solutions, and he wanted to support those solutions through law. And we'll do everything within our powers to compile a proper report. The police came in, they took over the scene. The investigating officer already interviewed some of the learners. They've given information, and they said that they will take that information and utilize it. So the staff of the school, we left them at the scene just to ensure that all other things that need to be attended to can be attended to. We suspect that everyone will start to come down later this afternoon.
Well, our reporters are all over the story. Zikona Chona filed this report from outside the school.
The boys arrived from their camp at around 10 o'clock this morning to us, and we saw those scenes as parents embraced their children as they got off that bus. Many of them very emotional, many of them broke into tears because knowing that it could have been their child, but also grateful for that moment to be able to be reunited with their children given what has happened at this camp. Now, a lot of parents were very reluctant to speak to us on camera, but those who did say that they were certainly very devastated that Enoch lost his life at such a camp that was meant to be the start of his future. He had a bright future ahead of him, as you heard my colleague there saying that he wanted to be a lawyer, and grade 8 is just the beginning of that. We've just come out of a briefing by the MEC of Education in the province, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, not able to give us much information. As you would have known, a lot of questions have been raised around the school's reporting of this matter. We understand that Enoch went missing on Wednesday, but the school only reported the incident to police at 3 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. So certainly people want to know why the school took so long to report the matter to police. And at what point did the school realize that there was someone missing, that a pupil was missing? When was the head count conducted? Those questions, the MEC unable to answer at this stage. The school was not present at the briefing. The MEC informing the reporters, journalists that were there, that he left the family in the northwest to stay with the family. But those questions still remain. The MEC of Education saying that at the time the priority was to try and conduct the search and make sure that the family is supported. So you didn't have much time to interrogate teachers as well as officials who were on site at the time that Enoch drowned.
My child told me that they were apparently swimming in the river, and I imagined that most of them were black children. How dare all of them swimming in the river? Some of them can't even know how to swim. So I was surprised that they were swimming in the river.
You heard on the news? The school didn't inform you?
No, I heard it on the news. I heard on the news this morning.
And then tell me now, you want answers from everyone.
I really want to know why has it become so bad? Why is Parktown Boys every year having a bad publicity? I really need to know.